Dion, how good has Bailey been?
There's a lot of people around the country eating their words on social media at the moment, and I've been revelling and watching that, and I may have been putting a few jibes in myself, but it's like someone's handed her the licence to pull the trigger, and she's doing a fantastic job.
She'll have to look at, she'll get offers all around the country, I'd say, with her performance.
Totally.
And being so young, she's so talented. And then if you've got Silan Fee in that circle this year, she'll be learning a lot and developing. But to me, she looks like she could be a starting player and playing 60 minutes week in, week out.
Yeah, absolutely. That stint that she did out at Gold D last year has really put a tough edge on her. Watching her from the sideline in the Cadbury men's series, she was playing on quite a crook ankle, and she just ground it out.
No mai ki te hōtaka o te poi tarawhiti Kiwi. I'm Bridget Tunnicliffe. So we're about a quarter of the way through the ANZ Premiership. It's been a very disrupted start to the domestic competition and a very important year as we build to the Commonwealth Games. Joining me to assess how things have gone so far is Hong Kong coach and assistant New Zealand men's coach Dion Te Whetu and former Silver Fern and Steel stalwart Wendy Frew. It is pretty difficult to read too much into the results so far given the effect COVID has had. 5 games postponed so far. It's impacted on teams differently, with the Northern Mystics getting through 5 games and the Stars just 2. We've still got lots to talk about. First, the Pulse's dramatic 1-goal win over the Magic on Sunday. What a game. 4 moments of brilliance packed into the last 30 seconds, including Bailey Mez's scoop shot as she was falling out of court. Dion, how good has Bailey been?
There's a lot of people around the country eating their words on social media at the moment, and I've been revelling and watching that, and I may have been putting a few jibes in myself, but she's a new woman. I think she always had the court craft, and now she's just this is just the icing on the cake with her shooting, isn't it? It's like someone's handed her the license to pull the trigger, and she's doing it, and she's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, it's like she looks like a different player to the one we saw at the Mystics last year, really stamping her mark on the game. And Amelia Walmsley building towards full games after having her second child. And despite not being anywhere near her peak fitness, when she's on court, she has had an immediate impact. Amelia Walmsley is just a class act, right?
Yeah, she's a class act, and she's so experienced. So I think when she's on the court, those young ones really enjoy her being out there and her directing the play down that attacking. And I think it's also been really beneficial for Mez having her out there. It just takes a bit of heat off her, and she can just play her own game, do her own job, knowing that Mez is going to, their combination's really strong together. So great seeing Mills back on the court. And as you said, not quite at her full fitness we should like to be, I'm sure, but she's done extremely well to come back from having baby number 2, and she'll just keep chipping away each week and get herself to where she needs to be and put her hand up for that black dress selection for the Com Games.
When you think back to Mez, when she was the starting goal shoot for the Silver Ferns, she mostly had Maria Folau in front of her at goal attack, and Ignacio and Folau are quite similar players. And when Amelia was out on court on Sunday, they basically shared the shooting load. It was 50-50. So, Dion, it's quite an unorthodox combination, but a dynamic one.
That's what we want, right? We want that double threat, and I think that's just going to cause huge headaches for teams. Dare I say it? I would dearly hope they will both make the World Cup team, and if my spidey senses serve me well, then I'm pretty sure that they both will be there. But not just having to rely on one person shooting the bulk of the goals, and just having 2 threats there, and I can't help but think that Mills has had she's not only brilliant on the court, but she's amazing off the court as well, and I just can't help but think she's had an influence in Bailey's shooting and just her confidence to turn and go to the post. It's just great all round.
Yeah, the Magic, just the one win from 4 games, but that next win is just around the corner, I'm sure. And the Pulse have been very entertaining. Tiana Maturo and Alia Dunn, it feels like they've come full circle. In 2018, the then 17-year-old Maturo and Dunn formed a great shooting partnership before Ignacio went next level and became the favoured goal attack. But now they've come back together as mature players. Wendy, it's a very intuitive connection, isn't it?
Yeah, you can tell on the court they're just loving what they're doing out there. They're complementing each other really well. They're both putting up a good volume of shots also. So I think for them, they're just going out there. They know what each other's style is, and they're both stepping up in their own personal performance. What I love from them is they look like they're having fun out there, and they're not scared to try things. They'll look for the long bombs. They've both got great holds in there, and they're both physical players. So I think that's a really strong shooting combination, and it's going to set the Pulse up really nicely coming into those crucial games.
And Silver Ferns defender Kelly Jury has been in fine form for the Pulse at goalkeep. It's like she's got a tougher edge to her game this year. But Dion, that's what she sort of needed, right?
Yeah. Look, if you look at the statistics, she's sitting top three for everything, including contacts. But I think that stint that she did out at Gold D last year has really put a tough edge on her, and she's learnt how to grind. And watching her from the sideline in the Cadbury Men's Series, she was playing on quite a crook ankle during that whole series, and didn't have a minute off, and she just ground it out. And I think she's just added that hard-nosed approach to her game, and I think we're just going to see her get tougher as she goes on. But like, stats don't lie, as I always say, and she's sitting pretty and right across the field.
Yeah, and the Pulse are yet to welcome back Silver Ferns mid-quarter Maddie Gordon as she inches closer to gameplay. Dion, you're Maddie's agent. It's obviously important that she gets the knee right first, but she must be jumping out of her skin to get on court so she can be seen by the New Zealand selectors.
Yeah, I caught up with Maddie a couple of nights ago, and as I was talking to her, she was just wide-eyed. She had just finished doing her sprint session, so she's looking good to go. I think she said she's about another couple of weeks away, but I would, when she does get unleashed, she'll be. It'll be a vet sort of will be pulling the reins in a bit with her, just to try and keep her tame, but. Yeah, she's good to go, and she will have that Cadbury series to put her hand up as well.
Yeah, Maddie was obviously a revelation at wing attack in 2020. Last year was mostly at wing defence, very tenacious in that position. This year, no Claire Kirsten at the Pulse, so a chance to nail the centre position. And Wendy, that's part of her appeal, isn't it? Because she can potentially play 3 mid-court positions for you.
Yeah, and I think she's very good at all 3 positions. I mean, sometimes you might have a strong wing attack who can fill in at centre, but if you've got a mid-quarter putting your hand up for the black dress and they can play consistently over those 3 positions, I think it's a really big tick for Maddie. She's fit, she's fast, she's strong, and I think we'll see her just improve when she gets back on that court. Obviously, under Yvette, she's a great coach, and she's going to work on her little aspects of her game for me. I'd love to see her feeding finesse just kind of improve slightly, but all round she's a very talented player, and I love what she does out there on the court, her grit, her determination, and her dedication to the game.
Yeah, I kind of think Maddie could be the ultimate centre because she's equally strong on defence and attack, but needs a bit more time learning that centre position. Sadly, Binny and Hunt won't be taking part in the Pulse season after an ACL injury in pre-season. I can't believe it's her 3rd ACL. She's only 23. I thought 2 ACLs was unlucky enough, but picking yourself back up after a 3rd ACL, all the best to Binny and Hunt. The Mystics defending champions, are looking pretty hard to beat and have got plenty of depth. Coach Helene Wilson has the luxury of being able to switch between Monica Faulkner, who's looking really good, and Phil DeVuy at goal attack. Taylor Earle's been playing well. You got Phoenix Karaka, Sulu Fitzpatrick and Michaela Sokolic-Beatson forming an imposing defensive wall. Dion, is it hard to find any weaknesses in their side?
Well, we'll just go back to round one, right? So I think that exposed their biggest weaknesses, and that is if Grace isn't on the court.
Yeah.
You know, how much confidence does she instill in that team? How much easier does she make it on the whole team when she is out there on the court? And so I don't think there is a weakness. I think their weakness is, if anything, would be their bench. And I'm not saying that they've got weak players on the bench, but you know, if Grace, and I dearly hope she doesn't, touch wood, gets injured, I think the effect psychologically that would have on that team would be quite big.
Yeah. Wendy, what are you liking about this Mystic side?
Oh, I think, as Dion said, they're pretty strong throughout the whole court. Grace is obviously a really big talent in there. I think for me, Sulu and Phoenix, that combination in the defensive circle, they're really playing well. They haven't had a lot of time together the last couple of years with Phoenix being out. So I think that combination is key. I commentated Sulu when she played in Macauga against the Steel, and her stats were just remarkable. She was into everything. Yeah. And I think she had 8 deflections and rebounds and intercepts, and just her mannerism out there on the court with her teammates. She's a truly humble leader, and she really gets the best out of her team. So for me, the pick of the Mystics is the defensive circle, Sulu and Phoenix, and as we've talked about Grace, she's a great player, and I agree with Dion. If she went down, the Mystics would be a completely different looking side. So for their benefit, I hope they all continue to stay injury free and really push this competition to go back to back. It seems to be what everyone does. When they win the following year.
Yeah.
I have to say, the young lady, is it Stife?
Oh, Kara Stife, yeah.
Wow.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's huge.
Geez, man, there's a future there. That young woman is, she's just hit the court, running, and she's made a massive impact, and I really look forward to watching her in the future.
Yeah, shot rejects and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I think she'll have to look at, she'll get offers all around the country, I'd say, with her performance.
Totally.
And being so young, she's so talented. And then if you've got Sul Fee in that circle, she'll be learning from this year. This year she'll be learning a lot and developing. But to me, she looks like she could be a starting player and playing 60 minutes week in, week out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Peter Tuiava is doing the damage again, getting things going down there in the attacking end, firing it into Grace Wiki. But I don't think it matters how well Tuiava plays this year. I just can't see her being named in the Com Games team. She got half a game during the series against England last year, no court time against the men, not named in the Quad Series team. I think if Nolene thought she could mould her in time for the Com Games, she would have taken her on the Quad Series. Whitney Souness is playing well at wing attack, but Wendy, I think it would take something pretty monumental for a specialist wing attack to crack into the Ferns when you've got Jenna Crampton in the box seat and Shannon Saunders who can cover wing attack and centre.
Yeah, we're pretty well stocked in that wing attack position, which is something we haven't been in the past. So I think Crampton's obviously a shoe-in. She's been captain of the team. She's a remarkable player, and she's very talented and respected in that environment. And then we know Saunders can play centre and comes on. She's come on in crucial matches in that black dress and been the turning point of the game and won the game, got a really nice intercept one game. I think it was in the final. So, she can play remarkably huge wing attack game too. So they're very well stocked there. You've got a feel for Souness and Peter. They're great players too. And maybe if they were in another country, they would, be making their national side. But I think we're just really lucky with the talent in that wing attack position at the moment.
Going down to the Steel, they've won 2 of their 4 games. 2 of those losses came against the Mystics. Kate Burley, her standing jump, wow, she has competed in the air with Grace Wicke, despite sometimes the ball coming down the court like a tsunami. And even though she's on the shorter side or compared to some goalkeepers, I think that's probably her strongest position. Dion, she's really impressed me. Yep,
she's impressed me as well. And damn genetics, if she was 3 or 4 inches taller, she'd probably be a starting goalkeeper for any team in New Zealand. But she just seems to have a really bright attitude as well. She's been interviewed a couple of times at the halftime breaks, and she's just, she has it pretty clear in her head what needs to be done. And I think for her players her age, she's got the smarts. But good on her for moving, and good on her for taking the opportunity, and good on her for shining. In a position where you're up against someone who's so much taller than you. And if she was 3 or 4 inches taller, she would just be an absolute nightmare for any goal shoot.
Yeah. And Wendy, George Fisher anchoring the shooting circle again, and Saviour Tui and Georgia Heffernan pretty much sharing the goal attack role so far. What have you liked about those two young shooters?
Yeah, I think they're coming through. They're both young players who, I guess, are playing, up against each other each week to get that starting position. Great seeing Hef come back from that ACL injury. So it's always good when a player can come back from an injury and get court time, because, when you have those injuries, it's a really big, it gives you a big fright, and there's a lot of hard work behind the closed doors to get you back on that court. So happy for her. I think Tui's fitted in really well, and that combination with Fisher and her is probably the strongest one at the moment, as Heffernan just gets back into that environment, and getting the body back in that environment also, it's a big ask. So I think Fisher's a remarkable goal shoot. She's talented, and you can see she demands the ball when she's holding, and if someone doesn't pass her quite the right placement of the pass, I like, she talks to them, and I think she's a really good asset for the Steel team, and when she's on, the Steel team are firing.
And the Tactix have just had 3 games, and it's their turn, it seems, to catch the brunt of COVID. Tough for them to get momentum. Just want to talk about Karen Berger. Do we like her at goal defence or wing defence? Because in the quad series, she ended up spending quite a bit of time at wing defence with Kayla Johnson at goal defence, and Marianne switched her out there once or twice this season, worked pretty well. Do you have a preference for her, or do you think she goes better at goal defence or wing defence?
I was talking about that with her this morning, actually. We're just having a catch up.
Yeah.
She doesn't mind either position. The Tactix, they've got a very good wing defence anyway. But I have hand on heart, I was surprised when she got moved to wing D, but it worked a treat. And probably more surprising for me was to see how the other 2 circle defenders combined. I thought they played really well in the second spell of that game, and I think Curran just, whether that was because Curran was out at wing D terrorising the middies, or whether that's probably just a height thing. But she enjoys both. I think I would. With the defence, the back 3 that we've got at the moment, I think Curran would be a really good option at wing D in the black dress.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Marianne Delaney-Hoshak has brought in Donna Wilkins as a specialist shooting coach. Wendy, Tapai Selby-Rickett and Ellie Bird could give them the edge that they need.
Yeah, Donna's a remarkable coach. Been a teammate of mine for years, and she will just bring so much confidence to those shooters. I think they've at times been a little bit inconsistent. So I think if they can get the game rolling, if Tapai's on the Tactix team, they're pretty unstoppable. If she's on her game, and if Bird is in the back holding nice and strong and pulling that ball in nice and hard, the Tactix are a good side. So I think we will see a big improvement with Donna working with them. Donna will look at their whole gameplay, their structures. She'll do a lot of work around their shooting and pressure situations, and that's what they both need. So I think they've got a lot of talent. Tapai's been a teammate of mine for a long time, and she really brings it when she's on. So I look forward to seeing her develop and really stick her hand up for that black dress come Com Games.
And the Stars, just the 2 games. It feels a long time since they've played. Fingers crossed this Sunday, the fixture against the Magic will go ahead in Auckland. And let's hope Anna Harrison, Lisa Mather and Mila Buchanan are back for them. We have to mention the men's game, world first, Mystics men versus Stars men, broadcast live prior to the ANZ Premiership fixture last Saturday. Dion, what did you think of that? And I'm sure you'll be looking forward to the Cadbury series against the Silver Ferns before they head to the Commonwealth Games.
It was great to see it on television. I actually missed it, but thankfully I had it recorded, so I had a good chance to have a really good watch of the game. I think first of all, a great opportunity, but also I think that the game was probably it wasn't as tidy as it could have been. The spectacle itself was pretty cool, but there's probably a little bit too much trickery trying to be done out there on court, and I guess I just would have preferred to have seen a slightly tidier game, but it was fantastic. And onwards and upwards. Let's hope that New Zealand's very progressive in that aspect, and so let's hope it's onwards and upwards from here for having the odd game of men's netball on TV.
Yeah, I think if you're a men's netballer in Australia or England, you'd be pretty jealous of what we've got here.
Yep, absolutely.
Experienced Australian netball coach Rob Wright is in his second year with the Northern Mystics as assistant coach. Wright has coached some of the biggest names in the game. I asked him about some of his coaching techniques and what his read is on the season so far.
How weird is the season so far? I think we've played 5 games, and yet a team like the Stars has played 2 games. So it's really hard to know where anyone's actually really at. You can't look at the table at the moment because I think, it's a bit pointless really, because there's just huge gaps. But it'll be really fascinating because I think the Silver Fern selection will be you look who's putting their hand up, and there's players putting their hands up all over the place, right across all 3 areas of the court, and it'll be really interesting to see as the season unfolds what transpires in that. And then because my gut feel is, and I think the team that will go to Com Games will be very different to the team that we've seen previously, and it'll all depend on hopefully that everyone's fitting well. For me, the mid-court one's always fascinating because there's some seriously good mid-court across the competition. And it's the same with the goalies, because all of a sudden you go, okay, what's the combos they're looking at? Like what's the mix of goalies they will go with? So at the moment, you couldn't pick who will end up in the team, which was very cool, because I think that means that there's real competition for positions, and when you've got that, you're in a good place.
I've actually been reading Shani Layton's book, and she talked about the one-on-one sessions she had with you when she first joined the Swifts, and you were trying to get her footwork quicker. And she talked about one drill was you would hold a blue crash pad basically, and she would try and use quick feet to get around that. What do you remember about that and some of your quirkier, I guess, training techniques?
I still use that stuff because I think it really mimics and really challenges people to find a way to do things. And it's not that I try and be different. I just come up with ways of trying to make people better, and hopefully that works most of the time. But it's tough. It's not easy. It was ugly for her. She loved that stuff. and so we would find ways to make it harder and harder. But it was always about making sure that, it was about how do we improve what we're looking to do. I think the game is really designed for attack, and so it's hard on defenders, and often, it's that you've just got to keep going and finding ways, and sometimes it doesn't work, but you've got to grind people down at times. So those sorts of activities really mirror what happens in a game where, defence, you might not get it for the first or second or third quarters. You don't often see those rewards sometimes to the last quarter. And but yeah, she was a fantastic player to train, and I just loved her competitiveness and also how brilliant she was.
Obviously, last year you would have known Michaela Sokolic-Beatson well, but albeit on the sideline. This year you're getting to watch her work ethic and the way she plays. What are your thoughts on Michaela?
Michaela is the ultimate competitor, like incredibly driven, and I think that shows in the work she did to get back from those two Achilles ruptures. Like, I think a lot of people would have maybe pulled the pin, but I reckon she was that was never an option. And so she's one very, very driven, highly competitive, and one of those players that just wants to be better. So whatever it is that she needs, she wants to know it, which is really cool. But a fantastic leader. So sets really high standards. And a brilliant foil to Sulu. Like, the two of them are brilliant leaders. And, it's wonderful to have her back on court. Like, I think you don't always get what you deserve sometimes in sport, but I'm really pleased to see her back on court, and she's just going to get better and better over time, because when you miss 2 years, it's going to take a little bit of time to get up to speed, and she's on her way. So, and she'll know she's not there yet, but yeah, she's coming along really well, and can't wait to see what she can do.
I read an old article where Sonia McCloma said that Rob Wright's got a photographic memory. He can remember every second of every quarter. Is that like a sort of a Rain Man thing you've got going on? Because, some of the most creative, intelligent types are those that are a little bit on the spectrum.
Yeah, I don't know where I sit in terms of that stuff, but yeah, I'm probably quite fortunate. I remember everything. I don't write stuff down. Like, I won't write stuff in games or stuff. I don't need to. So I know exactly what I need, because I see it. And I've embraced that, though. I know I'm a bit odd. I find that the players have also embraced me for that. Like, they know I'm a bit different. They accept me as I am, which is really cool. It's something that I've always tried to embrace as well. I always want people to be themselves. I don't try and change people when anyone I coach, because I always think, the people that, because as you said, like, sometimes the very best people, they're a little different. Like, I look at a Shani or whatever. Like, she's different, but you don't want to be changing who she is or what she is, or anyone else. And I always think when you allow people to be themselves, you get the very best of them. And it's something that I've really tried to embrace and stick to all my coaching career, and I'll continue to do that.